joined by very talented Evan Kingma, a guitar maker out of Canada. And so, Evan, you have been building guitars now professionally just over 10 years, right? Um,
Yep.
we started working with you in 2025. Just wanted to spend a few minutes getting to know you a little better and help our audience get to know you a little bit more. So yeah,
Awesome.
tell me just a little bit about how you kind of got into this, how you got started, and yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, first of all, thanks for having me. And I got my start in Spain. I took a 1 month guitar making course with Stephen Hill and also Pablo Requena. And I was only supposed to be there for 1 month to build one guitar, but I just fell in love with Spain so much and and the work. And I asked Stephen if I could stay on and uh, build more guitars with him. He doesn't normally let people do that. And during my course, his current apprentice at the time, he left to start his own workshop, and I kind of saw this maybe opportunity to get in there and work with him. And so I asked if I could stay a bit longer to build another guitar, and he said yes. And then uh, as a Canadian, I could only stay in Spain for 3 months.
Mhm.
So at the end of my 3 months, he asked me to come back with a proper visa and to be his apprentice. So I ended up staying in Spain for 5 years as his apprentice, and yeah, that's how I learned everything I know, really.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So, was there are there certain makers that you felt like you were drawn to a specific style or sound? Because you primarily make traditional guitars, right? But in the Spanish tradition.
Yeah, mostly I make traditional Spanish guitars, mostly classical, but also a bit of flamenco. Um,
Okay.
and there's a little bit of lattice guitars happening as well, but it's mostly traditional classical guitars.
Right.
Yeah.
So you mentioned that you do have a lattice model. You have kind of a
Mhm.
traditional model and a lattice brace model. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Or is there another model that you offer?
Well, right now it's mostly traditional with a little bit of lattice, and I am coming out with a double top model probably next year. But
Cool.
yeah, but
And tell me about that. It's going to be a Nomex or Balsa, or what's the plan there?
it will be something completely different than either of those, actually.
Okay.
Yeah, something a little bit different. Yeah,
Awesome.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
exciting.
Still trying to find my own path with double tops as
Right.
well.
Right.
Yeah,
Right. Right.
yeah,
So I'm always curious with makers that have been at this for a while, and 10 years is certainly a good chunk of time. What things kind of surprise you, or do things still surprise you when when you go to the workshop? And have has anything changed for you recently in the way that you approach the process, like, do you notice a big shift in terms of what you were doing, say, 8, 9 years ago versus now? Um, I'm interested in that as well, and I think our clients
right.
want to know.
Yeah. Well, my personal guitar is the first guitar I ever made, uh, and I get to kind of go back in time every time I pick it up to kind of see where things have changed. And whenever I look at it, like it's a nice guitar, but all I can see are all the mistakes I've made. And uh, there's sometimes I get a guitar come in from a few years ago, and I can see how things have kind of changed. And um, yeah, I don't know. The progress has been uh, so incremental over the years that
Hmm.
you maybe don't really realize that change or improvements are happening until you go all the way back to the beginning and really see it again.
Hmm.
But something I've really come to, maybe a bit strange to say, but I've come to appreciate the imperfections that a guitar can have.
Yep.
And I'm always trying to make the best guitar I can make. But like if there's some imperfections, then maybe it just has a bit more character. I read this quote a while back. Um, I'm gonna butcher it, and I don't remember who said it, but it was something along the lines of, as a machine becomes more perfect, it becomes clear that imperfections are like the greatness of mankind or something, and there's beauty in imperfections, and that's kind of what I think about when I'm making guitars. I don't want to make a an objectively perfect guitar that is perfect and efficient and all this. I want something to be beautiful, and that's maybe not what all makers are going for, but I think there's a lot of beauty in imperfections.
On the subject of materials, I know that you have some feelings about sustainable woods, and
Mm.
you've built with some woods that maybe other people wouldn't touch. Um, can you talk about that a little bit in terms of the way you think about wood? Also interested in and this is something that I get asked a lot working here is about back and sides, right? We
Mm.
all have a general understanding of what we expect spruce to do in a soundboard and what we expect cedar to do in the soundboard. And as we know, the maker can control those things. You like to make a bright cedar and a warm spruce, and but let's talk about back and sides.
Okay. Yeah, I've used a lot of different materials for back and sides. Um, Even bamboo, I use quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Bamboo's not technically a wood, but it's my second most popular material for the back and sides with my clients. It makes a great guitar. I don't know. I don't want to say anything too controversial or anything,
Oh, it's
but
okay.
um, I really don't think that the material itself for the back and sides has much or any noticeable impact on the sound. I think it all comes down to the top and how the guitar as a whole has been constructed.
Mm-hmm.
I think you can take pretty much any material for the back and sides, and as long as you build it the right way, you'll get more or less the same sound. It's impossible to make two guitars that sound identical to each other anyway. So, you know, anything can be a really great guitar if you know what you're doing. Cool.
Thank you so much, Evan Kingma, for joining me, and we look forward
Thank
to
you.
more cars.
Awesome. Have a good one.
All right, take care.
See ya.